Washington has started to deploy Patriot air defense missiles in 4 Arabian Gulf countries. The U.S. Navy is also reportedly increasing warship patrols in the area. Well, according to American officials, the move is aimed at defending U.S. allies in the Gulf from potential Iranian attacks, as well as deterring Israel from a strike against Iran. The Obama administration is edging towards imposing tougher sanctions against Iran. Well, to speak more on this, we're joined now from Tehran by Dr. Sayed Mohammad Marandi from the University of Tehran. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to begin by focusing on what the media is saying, and that this deployment in the Gulf is linked with Obama's failure to persuade Tehran to open its nuclear installations. Does this mean the diplomatic route is doomed, which was so promised by Obama earlier?
Well, I think that the Iranians, have their doors open to the nuclear installations, and in fact the idea that the Iranians were willing to import uranium enriched at 20% shows that the Iranians were the ones who were really trying to create a better atmosphere. But it does seem that the U.S. administration right now is taking a more irrational and hard-line tone against Iran.
And how do you think, how justified are the fears that Iran might respond to toughening sanctions with, in fact, a missile strike?
Well, I don't think that the Iranians will respond. I'm sure they will not respond in a military way to sanctions. They will definitely respond, and I'm sure that things will become much more difficult for the United States in the region if they do impose sanctions, further sanctions on Iran, and I think it will destabilize the region and make the region far more dangerous. But if the United States carries out an attack on Iran, or if Israel carries out an attack, the Iranian response will be very swift and very severe. I'm sure of that.
Let's just go back to what you were saying a little bit before, more specifically. How would Iran, in fact, react to tougher sanctions?
I cannot hear you.
What I've said is, how do you think Iran would react to tougher sanctions?
I think we've been cut off.
Okay, in fact, we seem to be having some technical problems. We've heard a little bit from Dr. Sayed Mohammad Marandi from the university. You can hear me. Okay, let's continue. Let's go straight to wrapping up our live. Another reason, of course, that's being reported for the deployment is that it's to discourage Israel from striking Iran. Does this mean that these shields could benefit Tehran somehow?
No, I don't think that the Iranians believe that Israel can attack Iran. The only way that Israel can attack Iran is either through the Persian Gulf or Iraq or Turkey, and the American forces are based in all these 3 regions. So that would mean that Israel would have to have the consent of the United States in order to attack. I don't think that the Iranians believe that Israel has that capacity to cause serious damage in the country. And if it did attack Iran, that would mean that the Americans have supported the attack. And the Americans, I think the Iranians would force the Americans to pay a very heavy price for that. So there is no doubt that the Israelis really cannot attack Iran without American consent. And the missiles, I think, is basically to create fear of Iran in the region. And I don't think they have any other effect.
All right, Dr. Sayed Mohammad Marandi from the University of Tehran, thank you very much for that insight.